I know that title sounds like clickbait, but that is literally what the doctor told me, and it's actually pretty bad. I have a condition called Pseudotumor Cerebri, which is basically all the symptoms of a brain tumor except, you know, the brain tumor. It causes increased pressure in my skull, which gives me crippling headaches, and it worsens my vision. I know that sounds confusing, so let me try and explain it a little bit. Your skull is obviously a closed object. There isn't really much space for things there that don't belong. So if there was, say, something like a tumor there, that would move things around and make it a really tight fit in there. So that's similar to what's happening with me, except there's no tumor. The increased pressure causes problems like dizziness, headaches, vision loss, muscle weakness, fatigue, etc., etc., all of which are symptoms I am suffering from. Last month, I spent 3 weeks in and out of the hospital. I got a CT scan, an MRI scan, an MRV scan, a spinal tap, a blood patch, a week of bed rest, and so many IVs, I still sort of feel like a junkie. It's ridiculous. I had already been suffering for a few months, but it's safe to say that March was really hard on me. Since they can't find a tumor in my head, the best option to treat this is by reducing the spinal fluid in my brain. My neurologist, aka my brain doctor, was going to try this with medicine, but she says that my symptoms aren't actually as severe as most people who have this condition, which is relieving, but also sort of terrifying when you consider how destructive the symptoms I do have been to my daily life. The pressure is causing damage to my optic nerve, which could take away the vision in my right eye permanently or even blind me if we can't get it under control. I've actually lost quite a bit of vision in that eye over the past few months, and I have to get fitted for glasses on Wednesday, so it's pretty scary. Treatment-wise, we're going to try pain medication for my really bad headaches, vitamins B2 and magnesium for preventing them, and physical therapy and weight loss. Weight loss can sometimes alleviate some of the symptoms, and I'd already lost 15 pounds and was exercising regularly before I developed this condition. So I'm a bit relieved to know that continuing on that path could potentially be a treatment in itself. So I only have about 20 to 30 pounds to lose, so I'm just going to make that a priority. I had to withdraw from school and quit my job, which was really demotivating. Not gonna lie. But I'm going back to school on Monday. I'm really excited about that, even though I'm not fully better. I filed disability accommodations for my headaches and a financial aid suspension appeal because they put me on hold because I left last semester. But I feel that this definitely qualifies under unusual and extraordinary circumstances, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I am scared to go back to school without being 100%. But I know that I'm making positive steps towards being better. It would be harder for me to feel like I'm improving if I wasn't working towards something. So even though it's going to be hard, I know that's going to be worth it in the long run. It isn't a brain tumor, so there's that. And there are ways to treat it, even if they take time. It's just going to be something I'm going to have to overcome, something to work through. I'm looking at this like a good story. The main character in my novel also had to deal with a pretty severe illness to become a better, stronger person. So maybe I'm taking my writing research a little too seriously, but at least I'll be writing from a place of truth and experience when I tell her story. There's always a next chapter. This is a point of conflict in my own story, but I have solid motivation and you guys are an excellent supporting cast, so I know that I can get better if I just keep turning the pages, so to speak. I'll see you really soon. I'm sorry I've been absent, and I'm sorry for not being very put together today, but I feel like I have a pretty reasonable excuse. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh my god, this camera's too good. It just zooms in on how terrible my face looks right now.